Hi boys and girls, it's Marci Chavalas and it's story time. Today our story is Little Heroes of Color, 50 Who Made a Big Difference by David Heredia. Let's look at the back to see if we can find out more about this story. Say hello to Little Heroes of Color. These movers, shakers, and history makers from many walks of life will show your little scholars there's nothing they can't do. I'm excited to read this story and I hope you are too. You ready? Okay, let's grow. Little Heroes of Color. Trailblazers, history makers, barrier breakers, say hello to women and men who stood up, spoke out, and changed the world. Ernie Barnes, an iconic athlete and artist, he used a paint canvas to show the beauty of the African American world. Ramon Emeterio Betances, father of the Puerto Rican independence movement, his gentle nature and grace made him an icon to people everywhere. Dr. Hawa Abdi, the first woman's doctor from Somalia, her courage helped save thousands of refugees. Benazir Bhutto, the courageous Muslim woman who led a nation, she was chosen by the people to bring change to Pakistan. Sudhanshu Biswas, a spiritual leader and activist from India, he offers home and hearth to children without hope. Idalisa Bonali de Calvente, a Dominican marine biologist, her love for the ocean inspires us to keep sea animals safe. Henry Box Brown, he became a beacon of hope to enslaved African Americans when he mailed himself to freedom. Sitting Bull, his wisdom and courage were legendary. Chief of the Hunkpapa Lakota Sioux people, he defended his people and land. Joseph Boulogne, Chevalier de Saint Georges, the first classical composer of African descent, he gave up his status and titles so that others like him could be equal in the eyes of France. Sylvia Carrera, the elected leader and advocate for education and healthcare, she is a voice for the indigenous women of Panama. Dr. Margaret Chan, a bold physician from China who led the World Health Organization, she fights for a healthier world. Shirley Chisholm, the first African American woman elected to U.S. Congress, she was unbought and unbossed and sharp as a tack. Bessie Coleman, the first woman pilot of African American and Cherokee ancestry, she dazzled the world and conquered the sky. Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, the first African American woman physician, as an author, she used words and wisdom to thrive in spite of great inequality. Oscar de la Renta, he studied to be a painter, but as a fashion designer, he brought his style to the world, the Dominican king of fashion. What makes an ordinary person a hero? Meet more brave men and women who stood up for what was right. Dr. Juana Diaz Merced. After losing her sight, this Puerto Rican astrophysicist used the sounds of science to remind us that knowledge needs to be accessible to all. Khalil Gibran, a Lebanese American philosopher, his words on the page speak truth and love. Arvind Gupta, a brilliant scientist from India, he turned one man's trash into treasure for a whole village. Fannie Lou Hamer, a courageous African-American civil rights leader, she never let being sick and tired stop her from moving forward. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Daniel Inouye, the first Japanese-American member of U.S. Congress, he never lost an election in Hawaii and was even awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Dr. Anandi Gopal Joshi, an American-trained doctor from India, she broke down barriers to save lives others could not. Tawakkol Karman, A Yemeni journalist and Nobel Peace Prize winner, she reminds us that words, not wars, have power. Yuri Kochiyama, a Japanese-American advocate for people and peace, she taught us to build bridges, not walls. Argelia Laya, an activist and educator of Venezuela, she reminds us why we must sit as equals. Tracy Lewis, standing tall against the flames, she became the second African-American woman promoted to lieutenant by the New York City Fire Department. Maya Lin, a talented Chinese-American architect, she honors soldiers and civil rights activists with historical monuments. Manuel dos Reis Machado, he renewed a nation's love for its culture by founding the first school in Brazil for capoeira, a martial art disguised as dance. José Martí, a revolutionary philosopher and poet, his works became a symbol for Cuba's independence. Toussaint L'Ouverture, he fought to free his people from the shackles of slavery and oppression, making Haiti the first free black nation in the Western Hemisphere. Dr. Catherine Barbosa Marquez, a Bolivian biologist who knew beauty exists even in the darkest of caves, she rediscovered a species of bat thought to be extinct. Heroes often do what everyone else is afraid to. What can you do to become a hero? Dr. Ronald McNair, one of the first African Americans in space, he was a physicist whose legacy inspires us to keep reaching for the stars. Lenin Moreno has dedicated his life to those more vulnerable. As president of Ecuador, he will ensure that no one is forgotten. Mansa Musa, a 14th century ruler of the Mali Empire, he used his riches to help develop a nation and gave generously to his people. Ellen Casolas Neo, the only woman artist of her era, she preserved the Kawawaka Wakum culture in her woodwork. Sir Apirana Turupa Ngata, devoted to his Maori community, he was a political and cultural leader whose legacy lives on in the halls of New Zealand Parliament. Jorge Ramos, a top Mexican news anchor, he brings you news from all around the world. Dr. Jose Rizal, a national hero of the Philippines, he fought against colonial persecution with the stroke of his pen. Buffalo Calf Road Woman, she rode into battle through a haze of danger to save her brother and earn the respect of the Cheyenne people. Zainab Salbi, an Iraqi-born humanitarian, she is dedicated to helping women heal from their war-torn past. Arturo Alfonso Schomburg, like an archaeologist, he uncovered the forgotten history of Afro-Latinos and African Americans and showed us the power of his people. Who is your favorite little hero? What have these heroes taught you? Sonia Sotomayor, a Bronx native and the first Puerto Rican U.S. Supreme Court Justice, she proves the impossible is possible. Junko Tabei, a courageous Japanese mountaineer and first woman to conquer all 7 summits, she inspired us to never give up. Jamel Shabazz, a prolific African-American photographer, he captured the fashion, art, culture, and beauty of New York City. Rabindranath Tagore, with words that glisten like sweet honey, he was India's Renaissance man, the Bard of Bengal, and won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Colonel Mero Tengesdal, the first African-American pilot to fly 70,000 feet in the air. She proves the sky's the limit. Mama Tingo, a Dominican activist who let nothing stand in her way. She fought for families to keep their land. Jim Thorpe, one of the greatest athletes of the 1900s and a member of the Sac and Fock Nation, he was the first Native American to win his country an Olympic gold. Johnny Ventura. A trailblazing Dominican musician, he captivated the world with his style and sound. Madam C.J. Walker. A self-made millionaire, she used her wealth, knowledge, and drive to uplift other African American women. Granville T. Woods. An African American engineer and inventor, he made it safer to travel by train. Now you know them, heroes of many colors. Who's your hero? Now, I hope you enjoyed hearing about these heroes of color. I know there's so many more stories we could tell about heroes of color who've made a difference in our world. We just have 50 here, but I hope you enjoyed those ones. If you like this story, go ahead and click like. And if you want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, have a great day. Goodbye.